الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the name of Allah, the most benevolent, most beneficent, and most merciful, I welcome you all to this special NTA Ramadan Roundtable discussion. The month of Ramadan is a holy month in the Muslim calendar that Allah has chosen to bless the world with. It is the month in which we are expected to exemplify and exhibit the characters of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is also the month that we view to be an opportunity for each and every one of us, or the Muslim ummahs, to renew his or our relationship with Almighty Allah. It is the month in which you are expected, you and I, to have a peaceful coexistence with your neighbors, within your immediate and outside the environment. This is why NTA has brought scholars from different spheres of life to come and have a roundtable discussion, which we have tagged Peaceful Coexistence Among Different Faiths in the country. From my right, I'll start introducing my guest, Mr. Awudu Kebiru. It's good to have you join us this program.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Next to him is Sheikh Abdul Hafiz Sani.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
And the next person to him is Al-Hadi Al-Amin Al-Aoud. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers.
Then to my left is Al-Haji Jimon Muftar.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
And next to him is Al-Hadi Ismail Nabuleli.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And of course, you know that the house will not be complete without having our chief imam, in the person of Malam Abdul Fattah Nabuleli, the chief imam of Edo State.
May the peace and the abundant blessings of Almighty Allah to be with each and every one of us. Good morning, viewers.
You're welcome. And our guest lecturer for the day is Sheikh Abdul Karim Ibrahim.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, viewers.
Al-Haji Chief Abdul Karim Ibrahim studied Bachelor of Art, Islamic Studies from the University of Maiduguri in 1986 precisely. He proceeded to have his postgraduate diploma in journalism in 1993. He didn't end it there. He went further again to have a postgraduate diploma in education, where he studied Arabic and education at King Saud University in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia in 1994. Again, he went further to possess MSc in International Relations. He is currently the Director of Education since 2019 till date at the Federal Ministry of Education. It is our honor and we're pleased to have you.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Before we set the ball rolling, we have the honor and the presence of our chief host in the person of Barrister Mrs. Pauline Igbano, who is going to give us an opening remark before we come back to our discussion of the day. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank the moderator for eloquently introducing all our guests today. So I don't think I need to go through that again. Thank you very much. So I welcome all of you, and I thank you for coming. Let me say once again that it's my honor and privilege to welcome all of you to this NTA Ramadan 2021 Roundtable discussion. Our moderator has also told us of the virtues of the month of Ramadan, that it is an opportunity for everyone to once again renew relationship with God and to live most peacefully with each and every of our neighbors, whether they are Christians or Muslims or whatever religion that they practice. And that Ramadan is also a month that Allah has blessed the world with, when the best characters are exemplified, are demonstrated as exemplified by the Holy Prophet Muhammad. Edo State has a unique position. It's a minority state, but it's also made up of different communities. They speak different dialects, they have different religious affiliations. But in spite of this, Edo State here, people have lived peacefully together over the years. And I think that Edo State qualifies as an exemplary state that others should emulate, because the people, in spite of these differences, we have managed to coexist together. And we have also heard all our leaders, civil, traditional, religious leaders, advocating for peaceful coexistence. So this underscores our decision to select this topic, peaceful coexistence among the different faiths. So NTA is merely lending voice and credence to aspirations of our leaders and the wishes of Edo people that we all live together in peace and in unity. You can see that this year's program is coming to you in a slightly different format. This is because of the ravaging COVID-19 pandemic. According to the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, there shouldn't be close gathering. We should observe social distancing. We should not gather too many people in one location, especially in an enclosed place. So we have been used to having our Ramadan lectures at our hall. And this year, it seems we are missing our rousing and very vibrant audience of the Muslim faithful. But I tell viewers, do not worry. This is a television station. This program is being streamed live to all our Muslim faithful and to all our viewers. So there is really nothing to lose. We're actually reaching more people today than before. It's also being telecast on our channel 7, NTA Benin channel 7. So this topic today, we have the honor and privilege of having a scholar who has degrees in Islamic studies, Arabic studies, education, international relations, and journalism. What this means is that we have picked somebody who is knowledgeable in the subject matter, who has the ability to communicate, because he has also read journalism. He's also an educator, so he knows how to speak to all spheres, all sectors of viewers and communities, irrespective of their educational attainment. So on this note, I wish to invite our Sheikh Abdul Karim Ibrahim to set the ball rolling, and I wish you all of us a robust discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Zona Director, we appreciate you so much. Thank you very much. And before we go to the topic of the day, I want to tell you that I have the honor to be your anchor today, and my name is Sule Olumoye. We'll go straight to the discussion, which is peaceful coexistence amongst the different faiths in the country. So, our guest lecturer, sir, is over to you.
We will continue from now. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, we seek refuge in Allah from the accursed Satan, and peace and blessings of Allah be upon the noble Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. See, we are in the month of Ramadan, It is regarded as a month of mercy, the month of blessing, the month of compassion.
The month of grace.
And the month of display. Because the first ayah, chapter 2, verse 182, asking Muslims to fast says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu kutiba alaykumus siyam kama kutiba alal ladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. We are prescribed, all you who believe. You know, I want you to know that word there, all you believe. It didn't say all you who are Muslims. Because it's only those who believe that can carry out that injunction. That's what it means. We have preserved for you fasting as we preserve those before you. So that to do what? To acquire God's consciousness. To acquire character in its entirety. So by the time you leave Ramadan without acquiring any semblance of character, that means you have not fasted. That's why the prophet said that if you cannot keep your mouth, cannot prevent gossiping and lying during the month of Ramadan, there's no need for you to leave your food.
Even after Ramadan.
And after Ramadan, there's no need to backslide. That's the essence. When you fast and imbibe all this character, Islam expects you to keep that character. Before it expire, another character, another Ramadan will come. You renew your relationship again. But by the time Ramadan passes and you go back to where you started, like the pig, when you remove pig from the mud, sometime again it will go back. So let Muslims not behave like that. Be constant.
And continue in your righteous way.
Continue your righteous way, not for Ramadan. Ramadan is just time and go. You see, Ramadan is the month which Allah has devoted to Muslims. The other month before then, like Rajab, Allah says my month, the month of Allah, Rajab. And the superiority of me and that month, like my spirit over my precious. Shaban is the month of the Prophet. My superiority, the spirit of that Shaban over other month, like the superiority of the Prophet over other prophets. Then Ummah, the month of Ummah is Ramadan. And the superiority of the month of this month over other months, like the superiority of Muslims over other nations.
Thank you very much. Before you go further, sir, you made mention of one of the hadiths of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he said, "Oh ye, you believe, oh ye believers."
Yes.
I wanted Mr. Jimo to quickly look at that. Who are the believers? Who are the believers? When you were discussing, you talked about not necessarily being a Muslim or a Christian, but to call believers in whatever you believe. So, who are the believers?
Those who that in the name of Almighty Allah, that in His word, what was written down, they believe in Him, like Quran. And many other things that maybe occur in our past life that
follow the tenets of the Quran.
This thing is a right what Almighty Allah, and this what should be right, and this is what is not good, and this is what God say, you have to follow it, and what God don't like, you have to dishonor it. Absolutely.
Being able to consciously differentiate the wrong from the right. Thank you very much.
In addition to what they have said,
yes.
A believer is that person who believes in the oneness of God, in the unity of God, that there is no other deity that is there to be worshipped.
The supremacy of Allah.
You understand what I'm talking about? That is the first thing, the first attribute of a believer. Believing in the oneness of Allah, in the unity of Allah, in the greatness of Allah, that Allah does not have an associate. That Allah is only one in His kingdom. That is eternal and absolutely perfect. That he had begotten or was it begotten. That is the Lord of incomparable majesty. That is the first attribute of a believer.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Yes, the word mu'min, believer. We have hierarchies of Islam. We have Islam, we have Iman, we have Ihsan. So when you are a Muslim, you know that is the name for generality of everybody. Then how do you define a mu'min in terms of character? Because unless you are a mu'min, you won't be able to coexist peacefully with your neighbor, with the entire society. Even with your own family, you have problem. Who is a mu'min in terms of character, not in terms of belief now? The mu'min has two different meanings, which my brother there and the imam has given. That's the belief aspect. What about the character aspect? Because it is character. You see some Muslims, they believe that Allah is one, another, the prophets and so on. But when you watch their behavior, they are worse than non-believers. Why? Because they have not attained character or that status of a mu'min. And how do you attain the status of a mu'min? And how do you know if you are a mu'min? How do you know you are a mu'min? A Muslim, when you practice what you have learned, Allah will decide to raise you to the status of a mu'min. A Muslim has what the character we call evil soul. But a mu'min has a character we call a critical soul. That is that soul that make him to behave well. And that is what Allah swear by it in chapter 75 verse 1 and 2. Say, La uqsim bi yawmil qiyamah. I swear by the day of judgment. That's Allah himself swearing. Wallah uqsim bi nafs lawama. And I swear by the self-critical soul. The soul that blames itself after doing something wrong. That's the soul of a mu'min. When you do something, immediately you say,
I want us to stay put a little on the topic. So I'll have you, Ismail, sir. I want you to look at the exact position of Islam when it comes to cohabiting with your people, cohabiting with your neighbors, cohabiting with the people within your environment, within and outside the environment, especially in this month of Ramadan, where we are expected to be, and as either as an individual or as a group of people, but that the keeping must be peace. But that is what Islam stands for.
In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful, I would like to begin by congratulating all our Muslim brothers and sisters out there having fasted for 25 days. Allah made this fasting a huge success for us.
Amen.
All the benefits of fasting may Allah grant it for us.
Amen.
Now, how do we cohabit with our neighbors? I want to begin by saying, if you look at the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right from the time of inception, his name is derived. It has a name called As-Salam. As-Salam happened to be one of the 99 names of Allah, which is peace. And if you look at Islam, it's the total submission to the will of Almighty Allah and obedience to his command. And if you look at the Muslims, for instance, anytime a Muslim meets his brother, he will say, Assalamu alaikum. And his brother will say, Wa alaikum salam.
Peace be unto you.
Yes, he repented. So, Islam, and so we as Muslims, we are supposed to be peaceful. We are supposed to live in peace with our neighbors. You look at the east, you look at the west, you look at the south, you look at the north, all are Muslim brothers. 40 houses to your right hand side, 40 houses to your left, they're the front and the back. So whatever happens to them, you should show concern by showing love to them, by visiting them when they are sick, by, you should not be a nuisance to them. You should not constitute a nuisance to your neighbors. Your neighbors should not be frightened because of you. So our Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "La yuminu ahadukum hatta yuhibba li akhihi ma yuhibba li nafsihi." Our Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that none of you is a believer until you wish your brother goodness as you wish yourself. So as a Muslim, wherever you are, you must be a role model, a shining example of what our Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said.
Now, in the course of trying to now, basically love, and you must show your neighbors love and try as much as possible to accommodate them as much as you can. But a situation where you are not in good terms with your neighbor, so how do you interact? How do you?
Thank you very much. You see, wherever you are, I want to tell you one thing. The tongue and the teeth do disagree. And so you as a believer, you should be ready for reconciliation at any time. Because where two people live, there must be disagreement. So if you have neighbors who have encroached upon your rights, look for a suitable time to reconcile with them. Especially in this month. You are not supposed to grudge anybody. You are not supposed to have problems with anybody. You must learn to forgive, because Allah himself is Yagafar. He's a forgiver. Yes. And so,
It's all right.
Thank you very much, sir. If we are to look at the prerequisite for peaceful coexistence, sir, and Abdul Hafiz, Sani, sir, if we are to look at what can we say is the prerequisite for peaceful coexistence?
There are many, or we can just state a few.
A few of them.
Among which is we are living with people that we can say you have your way, I have my way. So I should have a knowledge of what your way is, and you have a knowledge of what my way is like, so that we can use that to establish mutual respect.
Cross my boundaries.
Yes. Mutual respect for one another. For example, you know I'm a Muslim, and maybe you are a pagan, another person is a Christian, another one is a Jew. A Jew has what he's allowed to do by his faith and what he's not allowed to do. So I, a Muslim, should not force him into my own way of doing things, that you must do things
within the doctrine of your religion.
The prerequisite for peaceful coexistence is to have a knowledge of what the other person believes in, and respect him for that. And that's why the Quran says, don't insult the God of the people, the disbelievers.
Whatever they believe in.
Yeah, don't insult their faith, so that they will not in turn insult your faith. Now, that's one. Secondly, there has to be justice. Justice in the sense that if a Muslim infringes on the rights of a non-Muslim, I should not, for the reason that he's a Muslim, join force with him. I should rather be the one to stop him. No, you can't do that to our neighbor, despite the fact that he's not
different faiths.
Like the Prophet said, that you should help your brother, whether he is the oppressor or he is the oppressed. So the companion said, we can help him when he's oppressed. How do we help him when he's the oppressor? He says, stop him from oppression. Stop him from oppressing others. So we have to understand that justice must be at play for us to live in peace. We must not be the one that will join forces when our brother is wrong. The same goes to the other party. Every member of the treaty, because when people live together, you have either a written or an unwritten agreement to live in peace. So this agreement must not be breached by anybody. Whoever does breach it, that person is orchestrating, a breakdown of the peace, the law, the harmony of the society. And everyone is to join hands to stop whoever is trying to break
the agenda
and harmony of the society.
Now, I want us to take
sorry, please. Let me quickly take you something in addition to what you have said. You know, if we want to have peace in our various communities, in our society, in our nation, wherever you go to, wherever you are, try as much as possible to study the cultural behavior or the behavioral pattern or the people or the host community. You understand? When you know this, you know what they like and what they don't like. So you don't need to go and invade in their own in their right. You know understand? You be a symbol of peace. It's not like what happened in Owerri, in Dallas Road some time ago. When there was a
communal clash, kind of.
If those who came to that place understood the cultural behavior of the people, that incident would have happened. They would have lived happily, peacefully. So that is one of the counsel of the prophet.
Okay, before I come back to you, sir, this is NTA Benin Ramadan Roundtable discussion, and the theme of the discussion today is peaceful coexistence among the different faiths in the state and in the country at large. You can also watch us on our YouTube, NTA Benin YouTube. So you can, like, it's been live streamed, so you can join us via your Android and your tabs. Thank you very much. I want us to look at Edo State as a case study. Now, can we say, when the Zonal Director was giving her address just now, she made mention of something that is very key, that Edo State is a multi-ethnic group and a multi-religious state. Can we say we are cohabiting, can we say we have lived peacefully amongst our Christians and other religions in Edo State?
Thank you very much. I was with Mr. Tanregime. Before I go into that, there's acronym we have, which is PUT. You want to live peacefully with anybody, you have to have this acronym. PUT, that's patience. PUT, peace, patience, understanding, and tolerance.
Good.
So, this is, I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the people, the Benin people in particular, for their tolerance. They tolerate other people, both in terms of religion or otherwise. I've been living here for the past 30 years. You see, if you go to our schools, both private and public, you see our Muslim brothers and sisters, Muslim sisters in particular, wearing their hijab, nobody molests them. Unlike other states. That's a good plus.
Very good one,
yes, they don't. So, you see, Edo State, what always brings friction, quarrel among the people? It is when, the Imam said, when you come to a place, knowledge and understanding of the culture and tradition of the people is very important. They may clash with your own, but since you are already their guests, you should not try to interfere. As I mentioned earlier, when the prophets arrived in Medina, what he did, he gathered all the various religions and the tribes. They reached mutual agreement.
People of different faiths.
Yeah, he gave them a constitution, which you call in Arabic, was secret to Medina. In that constitution, he said everybody in this Medina are equal before this very constitution.
Okay.
That none of us will trample upon the right of each other. Then, again, he said, if anybody will attack a Christian, it is the responsibility of the Jews and the Muslims to step in and save the other person. Likewise, if a Muslim or Jew is attacked, it's the responsibility of both the Muslim and the Christians to come to his aid. What was the Prophet doing in order to stabilize, to bring peace to the society? And that's why Allah told us in the Quran, that there is a pattern of behavior. There is a model of behavior for us in the Apostle of Allah, for those who have hope in the day of judgment, and Allah in the day of judgment. If you study the life of the Prophet, wherever you are, you have a problem. You see, if anybody comes to the Prophet, whether it's a Muslim or non-Muslim, he will give you, even if it's the last kobo he has in the house, he will give it to you. And he told that if somebody ride a camel, or today now a vehicle, he comes to your house and beg for something. Don't because he's riding vehicle to your house. Whatever he has, give it to him. This is what I expect the Muslims in this state, or during the month of Ramadan. Even, I will give myself an example. I'm a leader of Igala community. Some of them are Christians, some of them are Muslim. Some of the Christians that come to do Ramadan, what I bought for my fast, I share it to them.
What is?
Yes.
It's one of the hadiths of.
Yes, I share it to them. Then I thank the Omonoba Nedo Oba Ewa II for maintaining balance between the various tribes and the religions that constitute the society. Likewise, the Islam of Benin Kingdom, Sir Gabriel Benin Dion. Every year Muslims give to them, go to him. He give them, He didn't say because you are not Christians. You are Muslim, he will drive you back. No.
That's an example.
Example, that's what we want.
Who can tolerate?
Yes, tolerance. Put, I say, the patience, understanding, and tolerance.
Yes.
People, even husband and wife, can never be the same.
Now, when we are talking about peaceful coexistence, how can you
Let me also add to it what they have said. Yes, peaceful coexistence connotes respect for all. You understand what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Sacrifice, tolerance, perseverance, sympathy, compassion for others. Like he said, Edo State here.
Yes.
Edo people are very liberal, very accommodating, very friendly. They give you, sometimes they even love strangers than their own people. We have so many strangers here who come here to settle down, who have businesses, who have houses here, mansions everywhere, who are making progress here. No discrimination. And most importantly, it's our Royal Majesty. We have to say it. It's a symbol of peace and an embodiment of unity and progress. We are celebrating the Salah. We go there, he opens the door for us, he welcomes us, he receives our prayers.
Despite he's not a Muslim.
Yeah, he receives our prayers, he gives us gifts. And these are some of the things that brings about unity, progress, development in any society. So we have a lot to learn from His Royal Majesty, these people of Edo State.
Thank you very much. But today there seems to be a lot of disintegration amongst faith. So much that, in fact, it is almost degenerating to what we do not expect. Alhaji Alausa, how can we sustain peaceful coexistence?
Thank you very much. Ignorance is one of the factors that normally lead to crisis. Especially when we are talking of different faiths. For example, now, you say you are a Muslim. Another says, okay, I'm a Christian. What is the difference? Who is a Muslim? The word Muslim is an Arabic word, which means the person who submits to the will of God. Islam means submission to the will of God. And if you look at what Jesus said in the Bible, Matthew 7:21, not everyone that says unto me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of God, but he that does the will of my Father who is in heaven. Even Lord's Prayer, that will be done on earth as in the heavens. Matthew 6, verse 10. I remember that somebody, Jesus also said another question. When somebody said, oh, your mother and brothers are outside waiting for you, what did he say? He said, who are my mothers and brothers? And looking those who sat around him, this is Mark chapter 3, verse 3. He said, here are my mothers and brothers. Whosoever does the will of God is my brother, is my mother, is my brother, is my sister. Meaning that what matters is doing the will of God. But today the question is, are we doing the will of God? Muslims and Christians? Are we not the ones occupying positions at the ends of our affairs? Are we not embezzling resources? Are we not stealing? They will say, okay, let the woman rule. How many wives have come out to say, my husband is a thief? He has just looted his treasury. DSS, SSS, come and arrest my husband though. My husband said he has money since back. How many women have come to say that? We are all condoning evil and suppressing justice. And what our country to be God? God will not come down. We shall fix our country ourselves. So ignorance is the first problem. And then you don't force anybody to embrace any religion. And that's a very clear in the Quran. La ikrah fi din. There is no compulsion in religion. For the Bible should not guide. True guidance is distinct from error. And so that room, lakum dinikum waliya din. Unto you is your religion, unto me is my religion. There is no problem. But now, when somebody now say, okay, they say somebody who say they are Boko Haram, which means that book is forbidden. Where's that going forbidden? When Allah says in the Quran that Zalika Kitab, that this is what? This is the book. Refer to the Quran as a book. And you are saying Boko is haram. That's why it's ignorant person. And then, okay, if book is haram, according to you now, bomb is not haram. You now take bomb to marketplace and put it there and kill people. You are saying book is haram, but bomb is not haram. You are saying that this is ignorance. So we need to really educate ourselves. Because when Rasulullah got to Medina, when he got to Medina, he met the Jews. They were fasting on 10th of Muharram. He said, why are you fasting? He said, oh, this day, 10th of Muharram, was the day that Almighty Allah saved Musa and children of Israel. And Allah destroyed Pharaoh and his army. So Moses observed fast out of gratitude.
put us on the
I
right
want to
path.
make a point there.
On the
What
right
that
path
means
always.
is that do not ever say the Muslims are the one responsible for those crises. Because a Muslim who is fasting, will he go and kidnap? It's not possible. When you are fasting, even the things which are lawful for you, like food, like water, even your lawful will become forbidden for you in Ramadan as a training. It's not allowed for you to now go and do what is evil in Ramadan. That's to show that those who are committing those analysis, they are not Muslims, they are not believers. And so we should not stop, we should stop tarnishing.
When we say that they are not Muslim, are we saying that because they have gone out of what is expected of them as stated in the Quran, or as Ramadan as a month demands of them? Because a lot of times I think we believe that these people are not Muslim, but out there they believe that they are even more of a Muslim.
Rasulullah said that when the man commits murder,
yes,
he's not a believer at all doing that. That if a man commits adultery, he's not a believer at all doing that. So there are some things that when you are doing, you are already taking yourself out of the fold of belief. That's not a believer. If you are eating in Ramadan now, and that says those all you believe, eat fast in Ramadan, you are not eating. You're not a believer again.
Now I want us to look at this critically again, because
Yes.
in Christianity, in Islam, we all preach peace. But why has it become so difficult to sustain peaceful coexistence?
Yes, yes. You see, the verse I quoted before, chapter 4:94. You know, what leads to this problem you are talking about is that, you know, some people, when they form an organization, they form their own opinion. They want the books of God to now agree with their personal opinion. Instead of allowing the books of Allah to penetrate them, they want to penetrate the book. Yes, it sets an organization. That I'll read it again. It says, "Oh, you who believe, whenever you travel in the land, investigate, find out. Then don't tell anybody who says salam alaikum that is not a Muslim." We have among the Muslim group that they say they are the best Muslim. When you say salam to them, they don't answer you. And they want to force you to accept their own ideology. Then he said, Allah now replied them that you were not Muslim before, but by His grace, you become one. Therefore, you should investigate. Don't just tell anybody who says salam alaikum is not a Muslim that you are not the one who gives Islam. Islam belongs to Allah. He gives to whomever He will. How to solve this problem is that they should go and acquire proper knowledge. You know, that the reason why that verse was revealed was that there were some Sahabas who went to a certain place. They saw some animal headers on the mountain. When they saw them, they say, La ilaha illallah. The companion of the Prophet said that they are just uttering Kalimat Shahada because they want to protect the animals, and they kill them. When the Prophet heard it, there was something in his forehead. It's when the anger is so high that thing came out that day. He now added to that, killed them. I said, okay, now you have killed somebody who say La ilaha illallah. Where are you now going to put the La ilaha illallah?
There's a similar one.
So, no, I'm coming. So, the solution to it, don't just, this Quran, you see, according to the Prophet, one side is with Allah, one side is with us. By the time you are not ready to live with it, He will withdraw it. That's why you see some people who can be Hafiz, but they are not behaving well. Like when you said that some Muslims are not kidnapping for Ramadan, let's be sincere to ourselves. When they have made up their mind to violate the rules of Allah in Ramadan, they don't consider some of us as Muslims. You see, when according to the Prophet, don't take knowledge from the young people. It's not like somebody who is not married. You are taking the issue of marriage.
But I want to look at yes.
Wait, let me listen. He's saying something.
Okay, sir. You can.
You know, we need to tell ourselves the truth. We are come to the stage where all is paid. There are 3 areas we need to look at for us to live peacefully in this country.
Okay.
The first is the home front. The home.
The family.
You see, people going to marry these days, they don't know the responsibility. The men do not have they know the responsibility towards their wife and their children. The wife does not know the responsibility towards the children and the husband. And so when they come together before you know it, they are divorced. Confusion at the home front.
Everywhere.
There are some situations, even a woman, the mother of the home, she cannot even cook for the children before they go to school. She go to go and start buying food for them outside. These are part of the problems we are having. That is number one. Number two, religious leaders. Okay. I'm a religious leader, but we have to tell ourselves the truth. We have become agents of oppression as oppression. Manipulating the people. Like what my brother said just now. Those are people who are manipulating the people. They are most of them are religious leaders. Who will tell you that? Who will tell you that mandatory, henchmen, they are ravaging the country because they have been marginalized. Who marginalized them? Who are those who have been ruling Nigeria for many years? Who are they?
And these are
you
people,
can imagine the kind of rubbish that is coming out from top.
these are leaders who are expected to be of exemplary character.
Example.
For the younger ones to emulate.
Again, is it before 2015?
Yes.
You know, Nigerians wanted to change the government before 2015 because Nigerians were fed up with that administration. And
before we go to that, sir, I want us to look at the issue of education as a prerequisite for peaceful coexistence, especially from the primary school, because violence now has become like an instinct in every child growing up. Kebiru, I think you can let's x-ray that.
It's true. Basically, when you're talking about peaceful coexistence, first, Islam teaches us to seek for knowledge. Even as far as China, according to the Prophet
That as far as you can go.
It says you should seek for knowledge, which means when you are knowledgeable, you know what is good and what is bad.
Being able to differentiate them.
You can differentiate them. And if you can differentiate what is good, Islam teaches us, it says wish for yours. It says wish for your neighbor what you wish for yourself. So you will not be wishing your neighbor bad if you are not wishing yourself bad. So Islam teaches us to coexist with one another, irrespective of your religion, your tribe, your age. So we have to seek knowledge so that we know what is good from what is bad, so that we can live together in harmony with those that are Muslims and those that are non-Muslims.
Yes.
So education or seeking for knowledge is one of the most important prerequisites for peaceful coexistence.
What kind of knowledge are we talking about?
I'm coming. Wait. You see, the issue there is this. The Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Hikmatu dalatul mu'min. Akhazaha aina wajadaha. He said, Hikmah, wisdom, knowledge, education, is a stray camel of a believer. He should get hold of it anywhere he fancies it. That's the problem we're having, is that from what source do you get your knowledge? See, from where, which source? Who will impart that knowledge? It's very important. A teacher who is not a good person cannot produce good learners. Yes. A teacher who is not a good person, who does not have that quality of a teacher, cannot produce good learners for the society.
So you can't give what you don't have.
Then, you know, the society, and it depends on the entire society, how they value education. You understand? When the society value education, then they will produce people that will value the society. You know, there is a verse in Surah An-Nur, when after that slander of Isa, and Allah free him and the Prophet, he said, they say, Al-Habisuna al-Habisat, bad men for bad women, and bad women for bad men, good men for good women, and good women for good men. You like extend it to society. When people are bad, they will have bad leaders. If people are good, they will have good leaders, and they will plan well for them. Today in this society, that's where our problem started. We don't have respect for educators. That's the root of the corruption. We don't have respect for educators. Somebody who is passing knowledge, tradition, culture from one generation to the other. And that same society has no respect for that person. Nigerian society have high respect for materialism. And knowledge
Thank you very much.
and materialism hardly go together.
I think we're almost running out of time now. But before we go, I want the chief imam to kind of give a summary before we come back to it. I need to give a closing there.
I was saying something, Joseph. Let me land, please. You know, if we want to have peace and progress in this country, as I said before, the parents should be up and doing, the community leaders, the religious leaders, the politicians. As I said at the beginning, the problems we are facing today, what are the causes? How did it start? We had problems before 2015. We had problems as a matter of fact. And we wanted to change. As a matter of fact, we had a change. A new government came in. Now, the problems has aggravated, has multiplied. At that time, we were not having banditry.
No, we can't really talk about PPC.
No, I'm coming. The world is safe. Before 2015.
Even the change that we are talking about, the essence of the change was because people were not satisfied.
Yes.
People were not satisfied.
And we pray that we vote for a new government.
I think we'll just continue to talk to our people.
Let's round up.
I just speak the truth. The tension we have in Nigeria is caused by politicians. Not the government. Yes. We should tell ourselves the truth.
The time is almost
We began with the issue of justice, equity, and fair play. Just like
I want the
a man with carry AK-47.
Let's round up.
Wait now, let me
Get
talk.
another hold it.
A man with carry AK-47 and go to somebody's farm and kill the farmer, rape the woman, kill the woman, and nothing happens. You want peace? You can't get peace.
Yes, let's find solution to that.
Before you answer, I think what we should encourage viewers and Nigerians to do, let us try to reciprocate gestures.
Fine.
Let us not be retaliating. Let us engage in what is called healthy rivalry. I want to behave better than the other tribe. Yes. I want to behave better than the other religion.
Very important.
For example, a Jew
is the word I should
in Ramadan, they were not eating outside. See why? The Muslims are fasting. We want to honor them. Let's go and eat indoors.
Thank you very much.
These are the things that we encourage.
Yes, lecturer, sir.
Yes, we thank our viewers out there for listening. You see, the issue is very straightforward. May Allah protect all of us in the country. You see, this issue we are discussing like headers farmer class. The resolution is very simple. It's there in the Holy Quran. There's no time to discuss. I'll give you the verse. Chapter 21, verse 78 and 79. You go there and find how this thing was set during the time of Prophet Dawood, David and Solomon. If you step into my farm, destroy my property, you are brought before the law. They call pay for what you destroy. And if I destroy your own animal, you pay for my animal. Simple. There will be no politics in it.
The last word. You are Muslim, isn't it?
Time is gone.
What is happening today is living is not badly.
Yes,
we know that. So we
wait.
have to speak the truth and clear our names.
You see, so
Living is not a bad name. It's a negative name.
yes, Muslims to start, as I said, that acronym put. Let's be patient with one another. Let's understand one another and let us tolerate one another.
Okay, thank you
then
very
we will
much.
live peacefully, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We appreciate you for the time. This is NTA Ramadan Roundtable discussion. And the theme of discussion today was peaceful coexistence. It has been the culture of NTA Benin to host Ramadan lecture. See you next time, next year. Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you very much.
The only time you ask me for, you don't allow me to answer it.
No, listen. There are some things they will not allow you to say on